your quilted heart holding me at night.
Hello everybody. Are you ready for some fun stuff? I made a comment in the live chat just a little while ago. I love this new creative year. I am having so much fun. And today starts a new series on fabric collage. Are you ready? I am not even kidding. The thumbnail of this video might be the reason why you clicked and started watching. Just to let you know, this is recorded live. It's going to be lengthy, but you can fast forward if you're watching on the replay. Everybody that's here live, hello. Feel free to chat in the live chat. But the thumbnail of this video is not untrue. I do not know what I'm doing. However, I've had a revelation yesterday and made a lot of progress. So I have an inkling of an idea what I'm doing. Hi everybody, today we're going to be starting off, I'm going to be prepping the pattern for the robin. And we're going to be using my drawing of the robin to do fabric collage. Okay, I think a better way to say it is, instead of I have no clue what I'm doing, is I am in information overload. Okay. For months, I've been watching videos on fabric collage. And everybody does it differently. And I'll watch one person do it and I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. And then I'll watch the next video of someone else and I'll be like, oh, I think I like that better. And I'm like a sponge. I have soaked in all this information to the point where I am just saturated. No more information can be held within. And I have to start trying some of these things out for myself to figure out which way do I like to do it. And I realized yesterday, after making a whole bunch of progress on the hummingbird quilt behind me, that I have developed merging styles from different people. One person uses this, one person uses this. I like both of these ideas. I'm going to merge them together and do it this way. One thing's for sure is there's always tons and tons and tons of ways to do anything. And what I have found out is there's no right way and there's no wrong way. So what I'm hoping is that this series inspires you to try this. Do you have to do it the way I'm doing it? No. You know what? I might have to go close my front door. You're going to hear Dolly bark and I forgot to close the front door. You might see me using some stuff that you don't want to use. You can use something different. You might see something that I'm doing and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to give that a try. And you love it. Right? Yes, I'm going rogue, darling. I'm going rogue. But what I've done, hopefully she settles down. What I've done is down in the description box, I've put lots and lots of resources. Some of my go-tos that I've been watching since before Christmas, since before November, really, on fabric collage. Okay, I'm going to just list off a couple of them. Laura Heine, she uses Pattern Ease as a foundation for building her collage quilts. I have linked a video of hers, or actually it was another quilter's page here on YouTube showing Laura's quilts, showing her work. Okay. And then I've linked Kayla Quilts, who uses parchment paper to build her fabric collage, which is slightly different, right? And then I've linked Cottage Treasures Quilting. They use a fabric foundation, but they use things like adhesive powders and adhesive sprays. And then a person who speaks my love language, and she does beautiful, awesome work, Susan Carlson Quilts, and she uses Aleene's Tacky Glue and No Fusible. And that's my jam, right? So there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's your way. And you're going to develop that as you start working, right? So I've linked a whole bunch of video resources down in the description box. And what it's going to do is probably do the same thing to you that it's done for me, is hours and hours of binge watching getting lots and lots of ideas. And from that, take what you will, just like I have, and you'll come up with a technique that works for you. Okay? Is this fabric landscaping? Landscape quilts are built just like this. Only we're going to have a theme. I'm going to use a drawing of a robin. I'm going to show you that here in a second. But the robin drawing is free. Down in the description box, one of the links is for the free drawing of the robin. I'll show you that here in a second. And then I did 4 drawings of birds and grouped that into a bundle. So the hummingbird that you see behind me, that's part of the bundle. And I've been working on that separately. But this is going to be the introduction. Today we're going to assemble the pattern for the robin. I'm going to modify mine, which you can do. You can do differently than what I'm going to do, or you don't have to modify it at all. So many different things you can do. I might have to go close that door. If she sees anything out in the yard, she's going to bark. This shirt is very fitting for today. Hang on, let me overthink this. And what this does, it's just ingrained in my personality. This is who I am. And I will overthink something to the point where it stops me from moving forward. And up until yesterday, I had started making some progress on this quilt behind me. I had done the sun and the light strip that goes through. And I was not enjoying the process. I thought it was overly complicated. And I was stuck for days. And then yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it differently. And yesterday I did everything else that you see on that quilt besides the sun and the light ray coming through the middle of the quilt. Everything else was done yesterday. It was like a breakthrough. So once I stop overthinking something, I tend to just get into a groove and thoroughly enjoy myself. I'm trying to, before we move on, I just want to share some stuff with you, right? Some of you are maybe wondering, what is a collage? Fabric collage. I have a couple things I just want to share as some inspiration before we move on, okay? Funny little side story first. And you might be like this too. Harlan was talking a while back ago. He had gotten a bright blue Jeep Renegade. It's the Jeep truck. It might not be a Renegade. I don't know car names. It was a Jeep truck. It was bright blue. And he said, as soon as he bought that truck, immediately, he thought he was the only one who would have the bright blue Jeep truck. But as soon as he bought it, he noticed everybody driving a bright blue, same color as his, Jeep truck. He never noticed them before, but now that's all he sees. He passes them all the time. More recently, a few months ago, he traded in the blue Jeep truck for a black Chevy truck. I don't know what kind of truck it is. He would tell you all about it. And he said, as soon as he got this black Chevy truck, whatever model it is, now he notices everybody has the same model black truck as his. He sees them everywhere. Does that ever happen to you? Ever since I started thinking about fabric collage, back in November sometime, ever since then, it's all I see. I see it every time I'm on Facebook, scrolling, I see somebody's done it. If I go to Pinterest, I see it. If I'm on Google, I see it. I went to 2 different quilt shows, Quilt Con and Mid-Atlantic Quilt Festival. I saw it there. And I know it existed before I started looking for it, but it was like soon as I started paying attention to it, I saw it everywhere. Not so much a trendsetter. It's just, I don't think you were really paying attention until it was relative to you. And then you see it everywhere. So first thing I wanted to do is just put up the meaning of collage, because some of y'all are wondering, is it, like a landscape quilt? Is it an art quilt? Collage Collage is an art form technique involving the assembly of various materials, such as magazine clippings, photographs, fabric, in our case it's going to be fabric, right? And paper, glued onto a backing surface to create a new, often unexpected composition. So that's like a technical definition of what a collage is, right? And here's my first attempt at a fabric collage. And this was back in November, I think, is when I started doing this. And I did not enjoy this at all. My true love, like my most favorite quilting technique of all, is raw edge applique. You've heard me say that so many times, right? I love raw edge applique. Fabric collage, basically, if you ask me, is raw edge applique on steroids, right? All of that is raw edge applique, just overlapped on top of each other to form a picture, right? That's what that is. But I love the beard on this. It took me hours and hours and hours to do that. And I tried to do the face and I failed miserably. I did not enjoy the process. Parts of the hat was fabric collaged. And because I was not enjoying it so much, I stopped and went back to my preferred method of applique. The beard is all one piece on this raw edge applique, and that was adhered to a background, right? So this is my safety net right here. Big pieces of applique that form a picture. However, we're moving into past my comfort zone in this series. And then this past week, I was at Walter Reed in the waiting section. And of course, I'm looking around and I see this on the wall. Isn't that beautiful? And of course, I thought it was a quilt. So I walked up to it, right? Wouldn't this be a gorgeous quilt? I was like, that is so pretty. There was two of them side by side. And I started looking at it. And it was little bits of map and books and all kinds of stuff local to Gloucester, where I was. And when you really got close up and looked at it, you could see all of the local maps, all of that. Isn't that so cool? I have a couple more examples, but like I don't know that I would have, I mean, I'm sure I would have noticed the picture because it was pretty. But I don't know that I would have really noticed to walk up on it and see that it was a collage, right? Here's another piece up close. Different little bits of paper. We're going to be doing this in fabric, right? Different bits of paper. And here's, of course, I want to give the artist of this piece credit. Torn paper collage on canvas incorporating local maps and words celebrating the uniqueness of Gloucester, Virginia. Isn't that awesome? Like, I don't know that I would have paid, I mean, I would have looked at it and I would have said, that's pretty. But until the recent past couple months, when my eyes have really just been focused on collage, would I have walked up to it that close, right? So we're going to be doing that with fabric bits, right? I have all these notes. I'm trying not to skip past anything. All right, so what I'm going to do is bring you down to my desk, okay? I have lots of stuff to show you. Now, many of y'all might have been watching me for some time, right? And you remember the cross quilt that we did? And we built the cross quilt on a black foundation so that it looked like stained glass and parts of the black fabric shined through the individual raw edge applique pieces, right? We're kind of doing that, but not really, right? But in that quilt, I used a foundation fabric. After I'm done with my hummingbird, I'm going to be starting this quilt. This quilt is made just the same way as the cross quilt. Each one of these pieces will be whole pieces of fabric, not collage, and assembled on a black background using a light box, right? A light pad. And will have spaces in it where the black foundation will show through so that it looks like stained glass, right? I consider this a raw edge applique pattern built on a foundation fabric. And that's usually how I work. I usually build my art quilts on a foundation fabric. However, in all my past months of watching different creators using different things, some of them had in common the use of a product called Pattern Ease. It's Pelon 830. I'm going to show it to you. They call it tracing fabric. It's like a stabilizer, right? You can see through that really easily though, right? You can even see the white lines and my cutting mat underneath of it. Excuse me. You can sew through this. You can write on this. You can cut this apart. It does not tear, right? So it's like a stabilizer, right? I have put a link for this down in the description box. I'm going to actually use this as my foundation for this collage. The hummingbird quilt behind me, that's what I've done with that one. And I've really liked it. It was easy to transfer the pattern onto this. And cost-wise, it cost about $1. I did the math. $1.15 for this piece, which I think is a great price. I feel like it's going to help stabilize while I'm doing some thread painting on this collage. It's not super thick and heavy. It allows me to transfer the pattern very easily without even needing a light box, right? So this will be my second time using it. This is what I'm going to use. If you don't have access to this and you just want to use some muslin fabric, you could do that. If you want to build it on a piece of solid black fabric, you could do that. We're going to be covering everything up, so it doesn't really matter what color it is, right? But this is what I'm going to use. I will be using my light pad and some freezer paper for cutting more detailed stuff, so you'll see me use that. Fusible. Some people love Steam-A-Seam Light 2. Some people love Wonder Under. Some people love Heat and Bond Light. Some people love the powders. Some people love the sprays. I'm going to tell you what I love. Aleene's Tacky Glue. And I know people are going to say, oh, I would never use glue in my quilts. I'm going to strongly urge, I've linked her down below. She, in my opinion, she is like a master art quilter. And guess what she uses to create all those masterpieces that have been thread painted and quilted? Aleene's Tacky Glue. So I'm going to be using glue sticks and tacky glue. I have used Heat and Bond Light, but I have a reason why I don't want to use that on this quilt, and I'll go over that here in a minute. But if that's what you choose to use and that's what you love to do, by all means do that. Okay? How big are these when they are finished? I'm going to show you the pattern. Let me show you this one because I haven't taped the robin together yet. I'm going to do that with you. Each one of these, the robin will print off this size. This is the hummingbird. There's a bird on a birdhouse, and there's cardinals. All of that in the bundle. When you print them off, they print off on 4 pages, and when you tape them together, they are like this. Just to let you know, they do not include the circle and the lines for stained glass. I modified it, right? I'll show you the drawings. This is the one we're doing together, the robin. This is the free one. You can get down in the description box. These are all my drawings. The robin, the cardinals, the hummingbird, and that's the one I'm doing right now. And then the big bird on the little house. So that's the bundle, right? But we're going to be doing the robin together. And when you print it off, it'll print this size. I'll measure it for you here in just a second. And it's going to be a blank background. I used one print and I cut off the top and the bottom. And this is what I used with my jelly plate to create the print that you see down below it behind me, right? So you could cut the extra paper off and make a smaller quilt if you wanted to. This is roughly 18 inches wide. And I think it's like 24 inches tall. I'll measure it here for you in a second. But if you don't want to make it that big, you could cut it, right? Cut off the extra. And you could make a quilt this size. You'd use a lot less materials, right? I have so much on my desk. Let me measure this for you. So you don't have to wait to know how big it is if you include all the extra space, right? It is, oh, I'm sorry, 16 inches. 16 inches wide. And 21 inches tall. That's if you include all the extra space. And maybe you modify it like I did, right? This is the hummingbird one. That's the one I'm working on currently. And the robin we're going to be doing together on Fridays until it is done. Carolyn says, I use Elmer's fabric glue all the time. Yay, me too. How do we get the instruction page? I can't find it. I have not written any instructions. No written instructions. I'm going to be demonstrating throughout the whole process. But you can get the robin, these 4 pages right here that I'm getting ready to tape together. That's down there. The link for the bundle is down there. There are no written instructions. There are, however, links to lots of creative sources that do things in different ways. So if the way that I'm showing you inspires you, but you want to do it a different way, you can research just like I did and find a way that works for you and your creative process, right? All right, so this robin prints out in 4 pages. Let me move this keyboard out of the way. And we're going to tape them together, right? So, what did I do with my cutter? I just had that thing right here. Give me a second. Aha. I had everything right here, and I guess I moved it at the last minute. I'm going to cut off the extra bit on one of these pages. I really like using my light pad for this because I feel like I tape my pages together much more precisely if I use my light pad, but we're just going to go with it for now. Actually, that's pretty good, Lisa. As long as I don't move anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this pattern with you today, just in case you want to do the same kind of thing, right? Then I'm going to cut off the bottom extra of these 2 pages. And we're going to set this aside and do the same thing for the bottom. Darlene, you have everything printed out, even the bundle. Yay! The hummingbird has been so much fun. And let me just tell you, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself yesterday. Once I decided I'm not going to add fusible to the back side of all my scraps. That was sucking all the joy out of it for me. And, I mean, we'll go ahead and talk about it. A lot of people use Steam a Seam or Heat and Bond Light. Y'all know I love Heat and Bond Light. But a lot of people use those fusible adhesives on the back sides of the fabrics that they're going to use for their fabric collage. And so that's what I was doing. I was adding a fusible to the back side of my fabrics and then cutting pieces out of it. And what I was ending up with were bins of scraps that had little bits of fusible on the back side of it, which in my thought was that pretty much deems that bit of fabric I can only use for applique because it has fusible on the back side of it. Which means if I'm doing a scrappy pieced quilt, I can't use that fabric anymore. And so I was like, I don't like limiting what I can and can't do with my fabric scraps. And if I have applied fusible to the back side of them, that is kind of limiting, isn't it? Even though it'll probably get used in applique, but who knows, right? So that's when the light bulb went off yesterday, and I said, you know what? Nope. I'm not putting fusible on the back side anymore. And so that's how I will be showing you, is without fusible. But if you don't want to use glue, break out your Heat and Bond Light. I'm just taping this together. When we're done, I'm going to go through and really tape this together, right? To include like the back of it. But here's the full-size robin drawing. See that? And I like my quilts to have some size. So while you could certainly cut off the top and bottom and make your quilt more predominantly just the bird, right? That would be gorgeous. I like the size and the length of this quilt, but I don't so much like all the blank space. So what are some ways we could fill this in, right? You could hand draw some mountains in the background. That would be pretty. I'm a sucker for stained glass. Y'all know this. Y'all have seen it so many times here on my channel, right? Stained glass looking projects. I'm going to do this one like stained glass. Oh, Carolyn says, I so agree. I won't use fusible because of the waste. If I knew I was going to use every bit of whatever I put fusible on, then I would do it. But the way I was working, I would cut a small little section out and have a big chunk of fabric with fusible on the back side, and it just goes into my new system for scraps with fusible on the back of it. And I'm like, well, I've wasted money. What if I never use that fabric? You know what I'm saying? So do you want to see how I modified this to make it look like stained glass and maybe give you some inspiration on what to do with the background if you like the size of this? I have to get up again. I have this hanging up on the desk behind me, and it is the perfect size circle. I've used it for so many things. I'm going to use that and a pin, and I'm going to make a sun up in the corner. This is how technical I am. I'm going to position it like so. And I'm going to trace around it, starting and stopping where the bird is. like that. And like that. And there's my son. See that? Who needs fancy compasses and circle templates when you have things lying around your house? Go grab a plate or a saucer or the lid off of your coffee container, right? There's my son. Perfect. And then I want it to be blocks of glass or stained glass, right? But before I do that, let's go up in here. And I'm just going to line this up nice and straight with my little ruler. And I will draw a line like this. That'll be pretty. And then I have to look on the camera to see if I'm straight. Let's do this like a line there, a line there, and a line there. And the tip of this leaf, that'll be a little block right there, right? And this one will be longer, like so. See that? That's a little rectangle. It's hard to see this pin. It's so thin. Oh, it could be a moon too. Yes, Steffi. Yes, it could be a moon. What else do we want to do? That's already starting to form a nice little border. Let's continue that down. I think what is super cool is that even though there's going to be several people making this quilt, each one is going to look so different. Do you know what I'm saying? I want a perfect little square in this border down here. I always think that that's pretty when that little square is there in a stained glass. Let's continue this. I want it to look different than the hummingbird stained glass that I'm doing. So this is different. Let's just bring this all the way over like that. And then let's do this. See how I'm not overthinking this? In between all the leaves, I'm just going to bring that line down like that. That's pretty. So now I have a full border all the way around. That's lovely. And now I do like the sun rays and the hummingbird one behind me. So let's just do some diagonal lines. Creating some sun rays or moonbeams, depending on if you're doing a night or a daytime picture, right? There's one moonbeam. And I'm not measuring nothing. Let's go right there. There's another one. I would generally say, yes, let's do it. Let's go right down to this corner like that. From that branch. No, let's continue that on. See how scientific I am? And then we got a beam there. Let's do a beam this way. And then a beam this way. And I think that is going to be gorgeous. That's going to allow us to use so many different fabrics. Isn't that going to be so pretty? Now, do you want to see something really cool? You could, of course, use a piece of light colored muslin. That's one of my favorite things to use as a fabric foundation, right? Muslin fabric. I usually buy it at Marshall Dry Goods. Yards and yards and yards of it, right? I like the natural unbleached muslin. Very cost-effective way to achieve a foundation. This time I'm going to use this Pattern Ease. Is it Pattern Ease or Pattern Easy? Pellon 830, I think is the name of it. But see how you can just see right through that? So what I'm going to do, not during the live, right? When I can turn on some music and feel creative about it, is I'm going to go through and trace all of this onto my Pattern Ease, okay? Then I can reuse this pattern. I can roll it up, put a paper clip on it, and reuse this pattern whenever I want to. But I want to transfer it onto this Pattern Ease, and then I'm kind of done with this, except for if I wanted to make notes on it, right? Like I'll show you the one I'm using for the hummingbird has notes all over it. And this is what I'm going to do off camera. I'm going to start thinking about what colors do I want to use, right? I knew I wanted this to be a sun, so yellows. I wanted a bright beam of light to go through the middle, so I chose an off cream color, right? And then I looked at the color wheel and I said, what are some complementary colors that would go with this, right? And so I made a plan. Do you want to see the hummingbird picture where I'm at on that so that it kind of makes sense? I think that that would be a good idea because this just looks like a lot of noise, right? Here is my hummingbird. And the light is throwing, like it looks so much more vibrant in person than what I'm seeing here on the screen, just to let you know. But that's what I did. I made a fabric plan using a color wheel. Right? So I had yellows and a bright beam of light going through the center of the quilt. And so when we look at yellow on the fabric wheel, yellow, and then a sort of a diluted cream color going through the middle, right? So when we look at yellow, colors on either side of yellow would really go with yellow, right? So orange, yellow, orange. I knew I wanted a bright beams of light coming like sun rays. So instead of going across the color wheel to a complementary color, I went next to it. And so the sunbeams here and here are orange gold colors. It doesn't really show that on the camera. Orangey and goldy, right? And then if you go across from orange, the complementary color is blue. So then I made the panes of the glass sort of like sky, right? Blue and blue, and I carried that into down here. And then next to blue was blue, violet, and violet. So even though it doesn't look like it, it's sort of like a violet color above it and to the side, right? And down at the very bottom. So that's sort of how I made up my color scheme. And when I did that in person, this works so much. It is very attractive and interesting to look at, right? But all of this was bits of fabric that I have glued together. This is bits of fabric that I have glued together and fussy cut to make this one panel, right? This gold beam, or it's like an orangey beam of sun, is fabric bits glued down in that position, right? Same with all of this. It's all collaged. So isn't that fun? So that is my goal for the robin, is I'm going to pick a color. Now I might use yellow as the sun and blue for the sky, but I kind of want to do it a little bit different colorway than this so that they aren't like too matchy-matchy. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's going to be my goal. And so when we come back next week, we're going to actually start putting some fabric down on this foundation. Okay. I will have it all traced out. I'll have a plan of approach. I'm going to have bins of fabric with no fusible on them and a bottle of glue and probably some freezer paper and some scissors. And we're going to start building this. I do think I really liked the way that I did it with this hummingbird. I built all the background first, and last night I laid down all the parts for the hummingbird, and I still have the flowers and the leaves left to do. But I really liked doing the background first. So on this one, we're going to start in the background. We'll start with the sun, and we'll see how much we get done. And eventually we're going to get to the bird and the branch and the leaves as we work along on this quilt together. That's my plan. Does anybody have questions that I have totally missed? This writes really easily. I'm going to bring this down to the bottom where there's a little bit of extra, right? And just, this is one of my favorite pens from the Dollar Tree, right? It's like a gel pen. Look how easy it writes on there. See that? You can also use a pencil. You can use a Sharpie. But it writes very, very easily. And this is not super, super stiff, but I feel like it supports all of the fabric that I have glued to this. You know what I'm saying? And, but yet it's still not super stiff. And I believe it's going to quilt very nicely. So once I'm done, all I'm going to have to do is layer some batting underneath of this, right? This is the back side. See that? Layer some batting and some back fabric and start some quilting. Cool, right? I hope you're excited about this. Again, what I strongly urge you to do, without soaking in so much that it paralyzes you like I have been. But check out some of the resources that I've put down in the description box. When I talk about amazing artists, people that do just spectacular, stunning work, I have linked some. Now, it's not all of them. So if you're a collage quilter and you just stumbled across my video and you're like, well, you didn't link none of my videos and I've been doing collage, it's because I just ran out of time. There are so many out there who are just so, so talented, right? I just listed the 4 resources that I have watched the most recently down in the description box for you. Okay? I think that it would get stiff and not allow a needle to go through for the quilting. This or school glue. Can you use school glue? I use school glue all the time. I use the Elmer's Glue All, which is stronger than the school glue, and I quilt through it. And I know people are going to say, I've spent so much money on my sewing machine, I'm not going to try to sew through glue. Well, let me just tell you. This part right here, and this beam right here, Heat and Bond Light. And some of these are 3 layers where I have overlapped some fussy cutting on top of layers of fabric that are bonded together underneath. There's 3 layers of Heat and Bond Light and fabric in some of these sections right here. If you will sew through that with your sewing machine, I don't know why you wouldn't sew through a thin swipe of glue that is dry. I would think your needle and your machine would have a harder time sewing through that than sewing through any of this right here. And this is all fabric and glue right here. Do you know what I'm saying? But you don't have to take my word for it. There's a video link in the description of one of the most talented fabric collage artists out there, in my opinion. And she uses not Elmer's school glue, she uses Aleene's tacky glue, which is stronger, in my opinion, than Elmer's school glue. And when I tell you there's not a spot on her quilts that she doesn't thread paint or quilt, you can't find one. And so, but I get it. You know what? If you don't want to use the glue, don't. You could do this and sew through that. Oh, hot glue. Oh, now I will say I would not sew through hot glue. That is thick and rubbery and hard. Do you know what I'm saying? Hot glue, I didn't see hot glue. I skipped past the hot glue. I personally would never try to sew through hot glue. So I do not recommend that. Yep. My pixel quilt of, what did we do? The pixel quilts. What was that a picture of? The butterfly pixel quilt. I used Aleene's tacky glue to temporarily tack all of my squares to the foundation of that. And then I quilted it once it was all done. Yep. Again, don't just take my word for it. Click down in the description box. I have even named what the videos are about. So it'll say Aleene's tacky glue. Click on that. She uses it. And no other adhesives fused to the back side of her applique or all of her fabrics that she uses. And beautiful, beautiful work. Jackie says, I do enjoy art quilts a lot. It's been a while. Hopefully I can do some of this. I've used glue and never had a problem. Not too thick and good and dry. It has always worked. Yep. I'm going to tell you, one of my very first videos, it wasn't the first, I don't think, but one of my very first videos in the first few months of me doing YouTube videos at all, I was doing raw edge applique and Elmer's school glue. And so that was almost 10 years ago. 10 years, can you believe it? And so after using glue in all my quilts for 10 years, if I had a problem with it, I probably still wouldn't be using it, would I? Right? But yeah. Can you imagine what metallic thread would look like on the thread painting part? Beautiful, right? A while back ago, it's been over a year now, Donna sent me some Kingstar gold metallic thread, and I was thinking of using the gold metallic thread on the sun, and in this beam, and in this beam. Maybe even in this beam, it would be like sparks of gold in it, right? And then sort of matching my threads to blend in with the rest of everything that's going on here, right? But look how fun this is. for this blue box of glass or sky, I have 3 different fabrics. This lighter blue with flowers, a darker blue, and then I fussy cut the flowers and put them down over top of the middle. Isn't that so cool? And then this was fussy cut. And then I fussy cut some flowers and laid them in there. Fun, right? And then I got to thinking, because I'm trying to only use my scraps for this. But then I've got to thinking, you know, most of my fabrics predominantly are smaller, sort of calico fabrics, right? Smaller prints. See how small that print is? I have very little fabrics with big flowers on it that I could fussy cut. Here was one. And the sad part is I've sort of made a resolution to myself not to buy any fabric this year that's not for bindings or back fabric. Because what would come in really handy right now is fabric with large prints and fussy cutting large prints. Right? I don't have a ton of it. I have some. They're not scraps. I would have to cut into it. But I don't have a whole lot with big prints that I could fussy cut. Which makes me really want to buy some fabric, even though I've declared I'm not doing that this year. But I am sourcing clothing in thrift stores. So maybe some shopping trips to the thrift store, I'll find some interesting clothing that I can cut apart and use with big prints on it. I don't know. But that's my plan. Darlene says, with Sunday Stars, we used glue for the paper piecing and I sewed right through it. Yes. Can you imagine? Oh, I already read that. Bae, you're here. Yeah, you'll have to come back on the replay to catch you up to where I am. But this is what we're making. Today's the introduction. I'm not actually diving in until next week. Between now and next week, I'm going to trace this pattern that I modified. You'll see that on the replay. Onto my pattern ease. And next week, we're going to start with the sun and see where time allows us to get through. But yes. Carolyn says, I would love to see metallic thread video as I never have success. I think, you know what, Carolyn? Back in the day, let me scoot this off as I'm telling you this. Back in the day, a long time ago, thread was so different, wasn't it? Back in the day, I fell in love with metallic thread, just the thought of it, because it's so pretty. But I don't think they make thread like they used to. Do you know what I mean? They just don't. It's made so differently now. Even polyester thread is made differently than it was 25, 30 years ago. But back in the day, I tried metallic threads and it was a nightmare. It was so horrible. Same with monofilament or transparent or clear thread. I thought that was horrible. I wanted to use it. I tried. And I thought it was horrible to try to sew with. So for umpteen 100 years, I avoided it and never used it. Even though I admired the look of it on other people's stuff, I had in my mind this thought that metallic is so difficult to work with. Because it was back then for me. But then we were in Patreon Zooms and Donna was like, I love Kingstar metallic thread. I love it. I love it. And I'm like, it's very beautiful. I don't like to mess with metallics. And we had all these conversations. And then she sent me some Kingstar metallic thread and urged me to try it. And when I did, I was like, not one thread break. I was like, what? And so I've been using metallic thread ever since. Now, they're not all created equally, but so far I've had really great success with Kingstar metallic threads in my embroidery machine. I would like to do some free motion stitching with the metallic thread on these art quilts and see what happens, right? But yes, it's so pretty, isn't it? What is that overlay called? Pattern Ease. I've put a link down for it in the description box, if that's what you're asking me about. It's like I lost my note card, $4.79 a yard, I think. But a yard of that is 45 inches wide by 36 inches long, right? I lost my little card. I just start shoving stuff everywhere. Here it is. There's a link down in the description box. $4.49 a yard. It's 45 inches wide, 36 inches long. And so from 1 yard, you could make 4 of these art quilts, or have a foundation for 4 of this size. Or you could do one great big one. $4.49. I think that's really good. Not to mention, if you were to do an art quilt like this and it needed on a fabric foundation, like I typically would, all my years I would use a fabric foundation. Sometimes when you build up layers like this and you really want to go in with some thread painting or some denser quilting, sometimes you find that using some kind of stabilizer would help eliminate any puckering or drawing in, right? So I'm almost feeling like this is like a built-in stabilizer. I'm going to see. I haven't quilted one yet using it, but I'm going to see. Patty says, I'm so excited about this. Me too. And let me just tell you, I'm going to urge you to step out of your comfort zone and to share your pictures and your progress with us. Please do that. I feel like when you do that, not only do you build up your own confidence in what you're doing, you're going to inspire someone else to give this a try, right? Someone who's on the fence who says, you know what, I'm not an artist, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. So you inspire people when you share your pictures. So if you're on Creative Crew, we would love to see your progress in this quilt. And I hope that this is just like a stepping stone for you. Just like when we did the pixel quilt, just like when I demonstrated the jelly plate printing on fabric. I hope it's just like inspiration and a starting place for you in your journey. Because I'm hoping that you're like me. You do it one time and then you just can't stop thinking about your next fabric collage project. And that's me. I just tried Kingstar Metallic for the first time this week. I never believed what everyone was saying. I'm a believer now. Yeah, huge difference, right? I mean, and to be perfectly honest, 30 years ago, I don't even remember what brand metallic thread I was using. I just know it was the awful experience. And I didn't even know Kingstar existed. Who knows how long they've been around? I don't know. But I know it wasn't Kingstar. It was probably whatever I found in the sewing section at Walmart. Do you know what I'm saying? And 30 years ago, I don't know how that was made, but it's not the same as what it is now. Can you show the robin quilt in your background? Oh, sure. Now this is different than what we're starting in now, right? Now we're doing fabric collage, but Actually, oh, the real one is hanging up on, see that little sliver right there? That's the actual painted one. This is a print. It's a print of the actual one that I have hanging up over there. Let me just show you this. This was painted on a jelly plate like what we did last week. And then just know that the colors are not, what you see on the screen is not real life. In real life, it is bold and vibrant. The sun is coming through that window and it throws my colors off. Just know that in person it's so much prettier. But this is an actual print that I sublimated on fabric. And so this is the same robin that we're going to make the fabric collage from, right? I used it on my jelly plate and did a fabric painting. See, it's reversed image because it was done on a jelly plate and I didn't mirror image it. But that's the robin on the jelly plate printed. And much like, well, I made my border a little different on the one we're doing fabric collage on, right? But same kind of thing to fill in the extra space. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to have these available in my Etsy store probably by next Friday. What I plan on doing with this is some thread painting and some decorative quilting differently in each one of the sections. I think that that would be really pretty. And this quilts very nicely. I love it. I love quilting on this. So I'll sit down on my sewing machine and do some decorative quilting on this and then put a binding on it. But I'm going to have prints available in my Etsy store if you want one and you want to do some quilting on it. Keep your eyes open for that. Also, shameless little plug. I just loaded my cardinal stained glass quilt pattern in my Etsy shop today. If you're on Patreon, this was your free pattern project for this month. I'm going to be making videos which are different than what we're doing live on Fridays. So if you see a video pop up and I'm doing something different, just know that those videos that pop up, I'm going to be working on this quilt, not to be confused with this quilt, right? Birds, they're all the rage this month, right? Yeah, so if you start seeing some videos, I think I'm going to do some airbrushing on my applique, maybe some dry brushing of fabric paints to add some shadows. Who knows? I'm feeling very creative. But yeah, if you start seeing videos of a cardinal, don't be confused. We're doing the robin on Fridays. And then after this, we're moving into coastal themed projects. Beachy, nautical kind of themed. I don't know if we're going to do painting on fabric. I don't know if we're going to do fabric collage. But it will be coastal themed. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to do that. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff. All right, everybody. I hope this inspires you. Before you commit on doing anything, it wouldn't hurt to check out the video resources that I've listed. And then, when a video is suggested after that, watch that one. And then the next one, and then the next one. No right way, no wrong way. I think the most important part is, are you being creative and are you enjoying what you're doing? And are you really motivated to try this? And are you struggling? Because if you're struggling, try something different, a different way to do it that you might enjoy more, right? If you start doing it and you really wanted it to work, but you're not having fun or you're struggling, try a different way. I guess that's what I'm saying. All right, everybody. I'm going to start looking for your pictures over on the Creative Crew. I'm going to be back here next week. I'm going to have my little cart. You don't see it because my little moving wall is blocking it. But I have redone my scrap system into a movable rolling cart. And the drawers pull out, so I can have a drawer of red fabric right here. And then put it in my cart and pull out the black drawer. And when I use those scraps, I can put that back and pull out the blue one. That has worked so much better than the little baskets that were stacking. I was losing my mind with that. But next week, I'm going to have my little rolling cart right here. We're going to have the pattern ready to go and a bottle of glue. I can already hear the feedback now. It's going to be so much fun. It was great to see y'all too. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope the weather is good where you are. You know what? Day before yesterday it was 85. Yesterday it snowed. And the snow did not melt away until halfway through today. Isn't that crazy? That's why we don't mess with the garden yet. I hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. Do something fun and creative. Sit outside if it's nice. Get some fresh air. And I will see y'all next Friday. Just keep in mind, if you see a video between now and next Friday from me, it's not of this bird quilt. It's something else. Still watch it. All right, everybody. I'll see you next Friday.
In the quiet of the evening light, with needles dancing, stitching inside each patch of story, every thread unbinding love and fabric where we belong. Every stitch a whispered prayer, in every corner I find you there. Oh, sweet patchwork of our days, stitched together in so many ways. With every thread our lives entwined, in this cool to love, our hearts align.